ultimately, ultimately, he did not buy the cheeseburger, and he left town without any purchase or changing the economic profile of our city. He had the opportunity, and he was the hamburger was right there. They were just putting cheese on it to turn it into a cheeseburger when he canceled his order.
What a dip. All right. I think we are live and in living color. Good morning, Michael.
You know where we are. We're rare things, New York.
Oh.
We're rare Americans, New York, Vinnie, because we're both alive and in America and at the same time. And as our friends in Texas will tell you, that's not an easy trick to pull off sometimes. You can be alive, but if you want to be alive in America, the clock is ticking on how long you can pull that off. It sounds simple, like all impossible things sound. It sounds so simple to be alive in America. You and I have pulled it off for yet another day.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, he's Michael. I'm Vinnie. It's Mikey and Vinnie. It's a Wednesday. And as you can imagine, again, it's all you can really, again.
How can you have a worse Wednesday?
Again, we're here talking about something that we were talking about 9 years ago, whatever it is, in Sandy Hook, and we were talking about Monday because of Buffalo, but there's something special about this. There's something heinous about this. There's something that's so far beyond the pale of what should be acceptable, of what should be, okay, this is the Second Amendment. It's that there's no defense for it. There's no rightly person that can say, well, this kid should have had the gun. He was legally allowed to have the gun. He was legally allowed to buy an assault weapon. What are you talking about? This is America. It's another indication, Michael, of how low we've sunk.
We're past sinking. We're to the point where Ted Cruz won't even come to the site, but he will go to the NRA convention and tout the freedom to have your child shot at their own school. You don't have to go to another school. You don't have to go downtown to a movie theater. You don't have to go to the portable library that comes to your neighborhood. Just go to school and we'll come to you one at a time. We're going to get you all.
So, and Cruz is going to be there. They're going to have the NRA convention in Houston. I think it's going on. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this kid figured that out. Said, "Gee, we'll get the NRA some extra props. We'll get them some extra publicity. They haven't been in the news as much lately as maybe you'd like them to be."
The idea that this could go on. I mean, they even thought about canceling the basketball game last night. But did the NRA ever think of canceling their shit show, their little circus when that comes to town? No, because this strengthens their position. This proves what they've been saying all along is right. The only thing that'll stop a bad 18-year-old with a gun is nothing. That's what stops him, because he had all the weapons he needed to hold off. You know, he held off the cops in front of the school. He held off the cops when he was within the classroom where he did all his killing. Did he wound 4 of them? He shot 2 cops outside and shot 2 more when they came.
Cops outside. I guess there was another 2.
And another 2 that came on the SWAT squad that busted into the room. This kid, I think, was either a crack shot or else very lucky that he was hitting what he was shooting at.
Well, with what he was shooting with, it appears that he didn't have to be all that much of a crack shot. I mean, you take one of those guns with the automatic,
spray it.
You pull the trigger and you just point it in the direction, and somebody's going to get hit with something. You don't have to be a marksman.
I didn't read too many.
A good shot. All you have to do is be able to pick the damn thing up and aim it at somebody and squeeze the trigger.
I have not gone. The list of bullet points on what happened yesterday was so long that I didn't read them all. Do we know where he got his weapons and what he was using?
He posted pictures of what looks like, and I'm still not 100% familiar with the AR-15, the AR-35, this AR, that AR. They posted some pictures of it on he posted some pictures of them on social media. I guess he just bought these guns the other day, turned 18 the other day, went out and he bought the guns.
And he took them home with him. Hey, take them home. I don't want them on the shelf.
Yeah. No. I mean, it didn't seem like there was much of a background check, if there was any.
Well, they
And
should
what
have.
would it have turned up at 18 years old?
Well, is there no history of any mental problems? I mean, when you start the day by killing your grandmother, that tells me that you have not the happiest home life. That somewhere on somebody's chart and somebody's radar, you popped up doing something that you required some sort of interaction with mental health authorities or the police.
Well, his MO, method of operation here, seems
Modus operandi.
and seemed strangely similar to the shooter in Connecticut.
Exactly, Ben. Exactly.
To the point where it really could be a copycat killing, that this guy, at 8 years old, watched this stuff and said, "Oh, someday I'm going to," the killing of the grandmother, the shooting of the cops. The only difference was, I guess, the cops got him instead of him killing himself. But everything, the chain of events that went on, are eerily similar to Connecticut.
In fact, I was on the air for Sandy Hook, the KFWB, when the facts started coming in, and we went wall to wall like you do. And of course, we had CBS and NBC coverage to help us. But the facts remain so much in my head, because what I remember most about that day is not what we ended up becoming so familiar with, but how the story changed from day one to day two. What we thought we knew on day one is almost in some cases exactly opposite about what we knew on day two, especially what gun he used, where the gun was, did he leave the gun at home? Did his mother help him? Did his mother commit suicide? Was she killed? Actually, she coddled him. She knew he wasn't right, if you recall, and did everything in her power to smother him into to her motherly bosom, to say, "I'm going to take care of you. I know you. Just stick with me. I know you're not right." And that sort of galled him. It took away his freedom, and it took away his ability to make decisions for himself. So the first person that he had to kill when he was on the day that he was going to kill himself was his mother, of course. And don't tell me that there's not something magical about the relationship between an 18-year-old and his grandmother, especially in a Latino family. And the reason that she had to go first, because of the whole life that he led. There had to be, if this kid wasn't on somebody's radar at 18 years old with that many problems, with that many demons working within him.
Well, I know we don't know yet, so I'm going to sit back and wait, I guess, a little bit to see what comes up. If there's nobody's saying if this kid has had a history. What they've gleaned so far from his social media page is that he was, over the past 2 days, was messaging people that he didn't know, saying, "I've got a secret for you," and setting himself up in a position. Now, I don't know, if somebody on social media sent me a picture of a gun and said, "I've got a secret," I got to be honest with you. I'm either calling the cops or at least sending that to the whatever they have for Instagram, the service department, the people who are sitting there and supposed to be monitoring these things, to take a look at this kid, maybe send a cop to his house, maybe do something.
Find out the sender.
And find out the sender and go see if he has what his secret is. All right, well, knock on the door at 2:00 in the morning. I don't care. What's your secret?
Hi, heard about your secret. Let's talk.
Yeah, come on out of the house. We're going to send a couple of guys in to look around.
And we'll get this settled in no time.
And we'll figure it out. If you got no secret, we'll be on our merry way. But if you got a secret,
tell us.
Tell us. Because you get just as famous if you think about it as if you do it.
I was thinking about the size of the town in Texas. They said 15,000 people live in this town. But you saw the television yesterday. The response was as if this happened in Manhattan. The response was huge. Where did all those cops come from a town of 15,000 people? Well, where did all those trucks and cars and gunmen come from?
They, like many small towns. It's probably part of why it took a tactical team a half hour to get there. Is, you know, there's a couple of cops in the town that the town can pay for, and then you have the layers of different agencies. You know, you get the
Mutual response. Yeah.
Rangers, you have the federal, there was federal cops that responded. It was all different kinds of cops. I'm sure as close as it is to the border, there was probably border patrol cops that came, you know, it's all hands.
You're right.
situation.
There were.
Yeah, it's, you know, you're grabbing anybody, and you know, it's interesting. I went and looked at if they were hiring police or what the police department. Here's what a cop makes in Uvalde, Texas: $43,513 a year.
More than the morning man on the news station.
$20 an hour. If you work nights, you get a $2 longevity pay per pay period.
But you got to ride your cop car alone. Remember,
right? $4 a month for each year of service. Medical, dental, and vision benefits. They do give you your own uniform and equipment because you probably have to carry $43,000 worth of equipment around with you. 13 paid holidays a year. 12-hour work schedules. And once hired, he or she must reside within a 45-minute response time. So I'm thinking that this was an all hands on deck situation, and guys, men, women, anybody who could, you know, I mean, they had the fire department was, I mean, you know, every kind of city agency. Anybody who had a gun, it sounds like, showed up to see what they could do.
And guess what, Vinny? What do you think that they got for showing up right on time within a 45-minute response time? How would you deal with the rest of your life if you went into that classroom, saw 19 kids and 2 teachers all dead in one room, all shot into bits?
And plus, you have, you know, the trauma of shooting somebody. The shooter is still 18 years old. You're still shooting somebody. You know, I mean, it's easy to say, well, a cop just picks up his gun and shoots. No. There's always, I think, emotion, unless you're the rare kind of bird like, you know, the guy in Minnesota that doesn't seem to have it. You know, you look in his eyes and there's just nothing there. But I would hazard a guess that most policemen that shoot somebody are never right the rest of their life.
Maybe Kyle Rittenhouse can have a word with him about how he got over it.
Yeah, you're taking a life. You're taking somebody's life. I mean, it can't be, again, unless you are something wrong with you.
Slightly cold.
You know, and if you're not before you do it, I would have to think that it turns you into a situation where it's difficult for you to function normally anymore. Maybe not. I haven't been in that position. I've never had to shoot at somebody and kill them, so I don't know. But I know for me, it would weigh on me for the rest of my life. And then going in and seeing that scene with all those kids lying there like that.
No, never.
Some of them probably still alive, screaming. How in the world? For $20.92 an hour, Michael. $21.42. When
the shock that happened in that town doesn't just happen in Texas, in Uvalde, Texas, a place I'd never heard of. But the shock that we all face, that we numb by the repetitive nature of, oh, another shooting, oh, another school shooting, oh, another stack of dead kids in the corner of the classroom. Well, we'll get that cleaned up, and we'll reopen the school, and we'll have an election, and we'll elect another senator and another governor and another representative and another hyena like Ted Cruz will take their place. And they'll all gather together for conventions, and they'll slap each other on the back, and they'll talk about thoughts and prayers, and we're really going to get to the bottom of this, and only a bad guy with a gun is our problem. It's not the gun. It's not this. It's this 18-year-old. What could he have done in the town of Uvalde and 15,000 people without that gun? Without both those guns? What sort of statement would he have made then? He would have that no one would have listened to him. No one would have paid attention. No one would have taken the least bit of interest in anything he had to say. Ted Cruz would have dismissed him. Ted Cruz wouldn't have admitted him to his office. Ted Cruz wouldn't have discussed what his problems were as an 18-year-old. Would have had nothing to do with it. And now that he's committed this heinous and unbelievable, unspeakable act, who's got nothing to say? Same guy. He's
Well,
got the cover.
he tweeted last night that he and his family were lifting these children up in their prayer. It's good. I'm sure they're happy to know that.
Then
I'm
wear a
sure
white,
that
wear a
last
white
night,
suit.
as they were shocked and horrified, as they had their eyes wide open, and the bullet was heading right for their head. Probably the last thing they thought about was,
Ted
gee, I hope Ted Cruz lifts me up for prayer.
I'm only a third grader, but I believe that Ted Cruz has got me covered on the other side. Okay, you can just count on it. He's a Christian man.
It's so ridiculous that I don't think if you wrote it as a movie, people would never believe it. People would never think, well, no, once something like that happens, like happened in Sandy Hook, you would change everything. I mean, gee, they had that one down in there in New Zealand, and the prime minister said, turn in your guns.
That's it. You had guns yesterday, and look at the mess you made of it. Don't blame me. I didn't use my gun. You used your guns, and now you're not going to have that gun. And why? Because I'm not putting up with this bullshit ever again. We're taking your guns. Try it now. Now try it. Now try shooting those kids in the classroom. Now show me. Now show me you're such a marksman.
Oh well, they can do it with a knife. I'm so sick of the people who continue to make excuses.
What about?
This whole game, and every time you say something that's even reasonable, right away you don't, and I have a friend that's exactly like that on my Facebook feed, a very famous guy. But every time you start to tell he's on there telling you how much, and a guy that lives in Texas, he's on there telling you how good guns are and how you'll never get, you want to step on the Constitution, you want to take away everybody's freedom. Look, they have gun laws in Chicago. Look, they have gun laws in New York.
Hey, they like to point to gun laws that don't work. Your gun laws don't work. See, that's why. And why? Because you have the law and I've got the guns. Now, see how that adds up.
I mean, sometimes I just want to wish that, and I don't know that you could do this, but somehow, some way, I would love to see Biden or somebody stand up and say, look, here's what I'm going to do. Biden leans into the mic and he whispers. He's got the grandfatherly thing going on.
Yeah.
Kid, I tell you what I'm going to do with you. I'm going to take away your guns for a year. Now,
let's see how many people
the murder rate goes down, we'll keep the guns. If the murder rate stays 75% to what it is, then you can have your guns back.
And kill each other over the party you're having.
But let's try a little experiment. We're not going to permanently take your guns away. I believe that a president has the right to declare a law that says, to declare an executive order that says for a certain amount of time, you can suspend the use of guns. Close the gun shops. Make it illegal. I believe that's martial law.
Martial
Tito, I think.
TIL, yeah.
Yeah. But let's make a bet. If it goes my way, then you give up your guns. You can keep one gun, a musket, a handgun. You keep one gun.
Over Marjorie Taylor Greene's house. And if she uses the gun, she has to wear chartreuse dresses for the rest of her career.
If the murder rate goes down, if the gun law works, and we don't have any school shootings for a year, we don't have any robberies and mass shootings in supermarkets, if we feel like maybe we can walk out of the house again or go to the supermarket down the corner at 2 o'clock in the morning and feel safe, but now they close it. If we could do that, you don't get your guns back. We take 100 million, 200 million guns out of circulation. And if you're caught with a gun, you go to jail.
You go right to jail, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, no more bull. We take you right to jail. So put your money where your mouth is. You can live for a year without your gun. We can live for a year without school shootings. And let's go from there.
Well,
Let's
the conclusion
see, right.
The conclusion that a lot of the pundits are making is we love our guns more than we love our children.
Yeah,
we
right.
We love our guns right now more than the future of the nation, the future of our families.
I don't think there's any question about that. I don't think there's any question at all, Michael, that people in this country of a certain persuasion love their guns more than their children. Hey, they wouldn't get their children vaccinated.
Is it because they have ugly children, Republicans, or why? Why do they have this? Take care of themselves, the survival of the fittest?
There was a virus going around. Papa caught it and he died last spring. No, there was a virus going around.
There's a song and there's a song in there somewhere.
Apologies to Bobby Joe Gentry there. There was a virus going around and people wouldn't go get vaccinated. So you expect them to respect life? Life is cheaper in this country than anywhere.
Cheaper than gas.
It's cheaper in this country, this Christian nation that everybody wants to talk about. It's cheaper here. It's thou shalt not kill, except if I got a gun.
Or if you don't.
Except if you're a black guy jogging through a neighborhood in Georgia.
Or grandmother at Tops Market.
Then I got the right to kill you. That's not it. I don't subscribe to the fifth commandment. Thou shalt not kill. It's not in
you know what? It never worked for me. I have to be honest about it. That commandment never works for me.
So what do you do? What do you do? It's funny, and I always say this. I went to Cuba many years ago, and the freedom, people always say, well, Cuba's not free. It's a communist country. It's a, socialist country. It's this, it's that. I even get some people that always, well, if you like Cuba so much, go live there. I'll tell you what Cuba doesn't have that the United States has. A fear of going out at night. See, nobody there has guns. Nobody walks around with pistoleros. Not even the police, for the most part, have guns. Castro doesn't allow guns, or he didn't at that time. You don't get to have a gun.
I watch so many British mysteries. It's still, I can't get over the fact of a cop without a gun chasing a robber without a gun through downtown and into a building. What's he gonna do when he gets to him? He grabs him by the collar and says, "You're coming with me."
Well, they got the stun gun. But this is not a free country anymore. I mean, it never really was to begin with, but our freedom, if you can't go to the market at night, if you can't go out of your house, if you can't walk down the street because you're afraid that somebody's going to shoot you or pick you off for however it is, whether they're in a super, they're drive-by, whatever, then you're not a free country.
I'm very curious about the motive here, because this idea of 18-year-olds or teenagers going back to their grammar school and killing the teachers and killing the students that are there, it's like going back and trying to erase your own past. I don't know what the cause of that is, but I know the fear that parents must have, that my daughter has taken her kid to school today, because one shooting like the one in Buffalo begets the one in Uvalde, Texas. And so when's the next one? The next shooter has already got his guns. The next shooter is already writing his manifesto. The next shooter's just waiting for his body armor to show up so that he can go to the school or the store or the post office or McDonald's or someplace where people will gather, where he can cause as much mayhem as he can before he either kills himself, which I suggest you do today before you go anywhere. First, step one, kill yourself if that's what your plan is. It just saves so much time. And also, what was it that twisted them to the point where the only solution, the only thing that was going to make him feel better, the only thing that was going to show him is kill as many as possible?
Well, I think I would put my money on being bullied.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me that in many of these school shooting cases, the kid that does it, the person that does it, seems to be somebody who was seriously bullied when they were a kid. That was, to no mercy. Kids can be the cruelest people in the world.
Oh, the school can be a dangerous place.
Listen, I know I went through that. And I know how angry you get and how the rage, because nobody will seem to help you. You can go to a teacher, but the teacher's not going to help you. You can go to a principal and they'll call them down to the office. But really, the reality is the philosophy when I was going to school, and I think up until recently, was kick their ass.
Take care of it yourself.
Take care of it. This is life. People are going to bully you when you're older. But we live in a society today where we don't have that vent valve anymore. We don't have, I had a kid that used to bully me mercilessly when I was in school. He stayed on top of me. He was a year older. And, when I was in school, I had orthopedic shoes I had to wear. I couldn't run good. I had club feet. And this guy would every day, Frankenstein feet, hey, Frankenstein feet. And I get it from him every day. It made me not want to go to school. It made me hate school when I was a kid. It made me hate the nuns because some of the nuns started calling me Frankenstein feet.
Naturally.
I know what it is. And I'll never forget this kid. And he'll never forget me. Because one day he got on me. I was in front of my house. And he started standing there with another kid and started calling me Frankenstein feet. But I had a shovel in my hand that day. And I hit him. And he didn't call me Frankenstein feet anymore.
Time-saving device.
He got about 6 or 7 stitches in the side of his face.
Well earned.
And I don't know what happened to him after that. I'll never forget it. I ran inside to my mother screaming, Mommy, I think I just killed Paulie. And the kid had blood coming out of his face and everything. And they took him. And you know what? The kid had club feet himself.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, his mother and my parents, my father went up to I took the kid to the hospital. My father went up to the hospital to see how the kid was. That's what you did in those days. You didn't immediately, you went, well, what happened? And I guess the mother had known that he was doing this to me. And so there was no, we're going to sue, you're going to do this, boom, 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 boom. It was nothing. I never saw him again. I think they moved after that all happened.
Wow.
But the rage inside.
How old were you?
8.
That's young.
Yeah. The rage inside, though, Michael.
Oh, yes.
was such that there was no other place it could go
Had to go
unless
out.
I wanted to keep it inside and let it build up till I was 15 or 16 or 17, and then go get my father's rifle and go to school. But that wasn't how you did it.
But
You
now
had
it is.
you there were mechanisms to blow off steam. You got good at sports. You learned music. You got on the train and you went to Manhattan because it was a different world.
Completely different world.
And nobody bullied you there. As a matter of fact, if you figured it out, if you hung out with the Hells Angels or you hung out with the hippies, they thought you were kind of cool for coming down and hanging out with them. And you found acceptance. You weren't going to get acceptance with these kids because you were different than them. You wore different color shoes because your shoes were brown and everybody else's shoes were black.
That's enough right there for kids.
That was it. And when you found out after the first time you got on a train, snuck on a subway train and went into Manhattan and walked around Bleecker Street and McDougal,
Different world.
that, wow, this place, you talk, there's no kids here, but man, you stop and you talk to somebody and they talk back to you. They don't call you Frankenstein feet. They say, hey, kid, what happens here? Oh, yeah, they play music downstairs. Yeah, you want to go down and take a look? Yeah, sure. So the guy at the Cafe Wa says, all right, go down, take a look.
Cafe Wa, yes.
You hear music coming out of here. You see people wearing, buttons, saying this, that, and the other thing. And you go to Washington Square Park, and it's a bunch of people hanging around with a guitar, singing about smoking bananas. And you talk to them. You sit there and you sing.
They call it Mellow Yellow.
Yeah. Banana grass. And of course, the guys that are sitting there singing go on to be David Peel in the Lower East Side.
A man and his band.
Have a marijuana. So, but the kids today don't have that. They're protected. The parents don't let them go out of the house. They sit there and they play video games, and in those video games,
you think
they
the kids
see how you can kill people.
You think the kids from Queens go into Manhattan these days?
Yeah, I think there's still some, not as much as when we were kids. People are, mothers go and pick people up and take them to different places. And it's not like, we used to get on a train going to Manhattan.
Well, you were lucky. You at a young age, you were getting familiar with the world that you were going to grow up and love.
Yeah. Well,
it was there.
I didn't like the hate. There was so much hate. Kids hated me because I was different. I had, club feet, and I didn't walk like everybody else, and I didn't wear the same shoes as everybody else. I couldn't wear sneakers. When I played, the schoolyard, I used to have to wear my hard shoes because if I wore sneakers, my feet would go over. So kids thought I was crazy. I was weird. I was, today, those kids are, and those kids are accepted. I wouldn't have that problem today. Maybe not. I'm not going to say maybe not, because I'm sure it still goes. I'm sure that these kids.
It's still a maybe.
But I can understand when you have somebody that has no relief valve, doesn't know how to find that way. And then on top of it, they're subjected to games and recreation where it's about killing people. Video games and movies. I mean, we never talk about, Michael, how much the movies influence people. When I was a kid, you went to the movies, you saw McHale's Navy.
You didn't want to be a superhero that could clean the neighborhood.
Yeah, the heroes, the superheroes was Superman. And he was true justice in the American way.
And Batman would help him, and Robin would help him, and they were all
the illustrious and beautiful Catwoman.
Do not forget Spider-Man, who for some reason got bit by a spider. Now he's a spider. I never got that.
And now we teach kids fantasy. We let them go into their own worlds, and we promote violence in movies. We promote guns. I mean, you can't watch a show in prime time without seeing somebody shooting at somebody. And we make it all real, right? I mean, we put you have to have the effects that make it look like it's an actual shooting. So it doesn't shock you anymore when somebody starts pumping blood out of their chest.
Somebody will clean it up from the props department.
It's a video game.
What harm could it do?
It's a TV show. And sometimes you look for that outlet, Michael, and that's what you do. Maybe you don't even realize, maybe you're so screwed up that you don't realize that when you shoot people, they really do die. They don't get up and go home and walk off the set.
I think in the mind even of a teenager, you can be pretty delusional about the reality of true death through actual shooting, because it's so antiseptic on television and in movies. In fact, you have to shoot a guy about 7 times before he goes down, which is not the way it works in real life.
Right. One bullet usually does the trick.
Does an ugly, ugly, terrible trick.
And especially in these weapons that bring, if you shoot somebody with let's say a 38 caliber regular gun, they get a bullet, it goes in. If it's not a dum-dum or a hollow point or something like that, lodges in there. And that's it. It either rips up an organ or does something, and you either live or die. When you use these different high-powered rifles,
assault weapons,
the bullet's traveling much faster. The ammunition hits your body in a different way to where it explodes. It literally rips you up from the inside out.
One shot is all you need.
One shot will do the trick. And not only does it do the trick, but it rips you up so that you have to go out into the lot outside the school, and you have to ask the parents to swab their nose.
We can't tell one from the other right now.
Yeah, so you can go inside and match the DNA, not because you want to give the parents a COVID test, but because you can't tell the little body, the 50-pound body of a second or third grader takes one of those bullets and it rips them apart from inside. The bullet explodes and it goes in 10 different directions. There were probably kids in that had their faces ripped off.
Undoubtedly.
That had their brains splattered all over the place. And that's America today.
That's the Ted Cruz Memorial.
And I can't wait until they build it. That will go online and stand up in front of television cameras and have the fucking balls to defend that.
Oh yeah, but we're a safer America because of this, Vinny. You can admit that. Who knows how many criminals would have gone to that school and grown up to threaten their community. So this was a stopgap measure. We kill a few of them now, we won't have to kill them as adults later. It's a good guy with a gun theory.
Maybe they're
And
right, Michael. Maybe they're right.
Doesn't say much for our species and the continuation of same.
No, it doesn't, man. It doesn't. And it's never.
And there's guys in coffee shops all over the place saying, "I'll tell you what really happened there yesterday. You want to hear the truth? You don't want to hear the truth. You milquetoast liberals are too weak to hear the truth. I'll tell you what really happened there yesterday. It's the great design of America. This is what we were designed to do. We were designed to start killing each other at ever increasing rate of intensity, just to see how far we could go. And there's no one to stop us. No one to stop an American means there's trouble afoot. But what are you going to do with this guy? Nothing. Let him go. Let's see what happens." And that's what's going on with this country right now. We're letting the worst of it go. We're just going to see what happens. There's no one home to stop it. Half the cops and half the firemen and half the first responders are Proud Boys anyway. So they're on the wrong side of the law to begin with. When you summon them to your house, you're calling trouble to your neighborhood. When you get an 18-year-old this angry, the only thing that he could have become was a member of the army. He could have joined the army. He could have been a Marine. He could have been a cop, but instead he went the quicker route. He started taking revenge on the 18 years of misery that he had lived. Okay, time for everyone to pay. I've paid for 18 years. Now you're all going to pay. As many of you as possible will pay. And when it's all over, no one's going to do anything about it anyway. So what do you care how many I kill? It doesn't matter how many I kill, because no matter what the number is, if I killed 40, would it make any difference? Would you do something then? No, you wouldn't. You'd hide behind Mitch McConnell and Ted Cruz. You'd say 40 is a nice round number. Maybe next time we could get 80 if we put our mind to it. 80 criminals that never got to be criminals. It was their own damn fault for being third graders. This is America, where we chop down the good with the bad, just to make sure, just to be on the safe side for the future. Those people would have never grown into criminals because we got them, we nipped it in the bud. And our great Constitution allowed it, mandated it, insisted that we do it. This is how we're supposed to live. This is how the Constitution was written. This is what freedom to pursue the happiness is all about. What makes you happy? Killing people? You're in the right place. Have you got a gun? Do you need a new gun? Would you like a nice, shiny new gun? We got those. We got those today. Buy it today, use it tomorrow, and we're done. Be an American. Act like an American. Think like an American. Kill like an American. And then ignore the facts like an American. Ted Cruz will show you how. They're doing it in Texas every day.
We'll let you kill people for 4 easy payments at $30.95 a month.
What I want to know is, are you ready to get started? You want to drive this gun home today?
When are we going to hold the gun manufacturers responsible?
Yesterday.
When are we going to hold these people who can't make enough guns? When will we see those people be held responsible?
There's so many guns in America right now that I don't think we could ever get them back, ever, under any circumstances. We'd have to go house to house.
I fear you're right. I mean, I almost asked you, and I will ask you anyway. I almost asked you, Michael, why doesn't this happen in other countries?
Because they don't allow it to happen. They care about their 8-year-olds and their third graders and their second graders. They would never allow this to happen.
Yeah. Well, why? I mean, we look at, we want to build a wall to keep people from South America out. Do you ever hear this stuff happen in South America?
Nope. And they don't have walls. They just hope we don't come down there.
The Canadians want to build a wall to keep us out.
Not a bad idea, because we're getting to the tipping point. We're going to start pretty soon blaming Canadians for our problem. You know what? You know what's wrong with America? We're stuck to this thing called Canada.
Yep.
If we could just clean that up, they're the problem.
Just get them
We're-
some guns.
And we're good at assessing where the real problem is. I'll tell you what's wrong with America. I'll tell you what's wrong. There's always someone who will tell you. He won't do anything about it. He can't better it. He's not in a position either mentally or financially to do anything about it, but he'll tell you, happy to tell you what's wrong with America. The people in Texas today, right now, in Dallas, Texas, in Houston, Texas, in San Antonio, explaining all this so that it sounds rational. It sounds doable. It sounds inevitable. This is going to happen no matter what we do with guns. This is just going to happen.
Yep.
This is the way we are. We're a sick society. It's going to keep happening. It'll
It's,
probably happen within a week.
there's one of my favorite movies is The Best Years of Our Lives. Great movie. Done it probably the first movie ever to deal with what happens to veterans when they come home after the war. I don't know if you
Not
ever seen
much.
Frederick March, and a ton of people are in it. And there's this one guy, Homer, who lost both his hands. He's the guy who won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in, I think, 1947, whatever, or 1949, whatever. And there's a scene where Homer's in a drugstore where his friend Fred works. And this guy is wearing like an American flag pin, and he sees Homer trying to eat a sandwich with his hands, with his hooks. And he's, you don't have to feel sorry for me. Look, these new government issued hands work fine. And he picks up the thing and, and picks up a sandwich. He's got a milkshake, and he picks that up and he drinks it. And the guy looks at him and he just shakes his head. He goes, "I'll tell you what's wrong with America. You lost your hands for nothing." And then he goes on, he was one of these, I don't know, third columnists, whatever you call him. But he was an anti-American guy.
He was a know-it-all.
Liberal. Yeah, he was a damn liberal. And a libtard. That's what they like to call us, Mikey, libtards. And so Fred Derry, sees this, and he jumps over the counter and he picks the guy up and he throws him into a cosmetics case. And it's just a great scene because this guy is that same guy we have today, only that this guy now has social media. So he gets on social media and he, expounds his views just like we're doing. Except we're right and he's wrong.
That's why he ended up in a cosmetic case.
Right. Who knows? By the end of the day today, I might wind up in a cosmetic case.
I was thinking, I wonder when's the last time Vinnie got pushed into a cosmetic case. And I was thinking, I don't think that's ever happened to me. I've been in a lot of situations, God knows. But
Well,
not-
I never did that with the Mac stuff because the woman at the counter was really attractive, and I didn't want to
Wait a
leave a
minute,
bad impression.
Vinnie, now tell the truth. Was she a redhead? Damn,
Like
Vinny,
George
when-
Washington, I can't tell a lie unless it's about owning slaves.
When are you going to learn? Well, it's almost
Mikey,
time to
thank you
sign
for
off on this.
making me
miserable-
laugh, man.
I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do for the rest of this miserable day, but maybe watching the news won't be the best idea, although we'll have to catch up on the reality of it all.
Yeah. I got a bunch of stuff to do, and let's see. Oh, Wheels is holding a press conference
Oh, great.
to probably tell everybody what a great state Texas is. Look at Texas. We can kill more people quicker than anybody else. Come move here.
With great opportunity to get another gun and another killing. And we still have a lot of public schools that have not been shot up. So if you're coming
Hey,
to
grab a
Texas,
gun, come
pick one
on
out.
down. Matter of fact, do yourself a favor. Wait till you get here because we'll make sure you get a bigger gun than you can buy anywhere else.
yeah, buy your gun. If you're going to buy a gun and shoot up one of our schools, buy the gun in Texas.
All right, keep Texas working.
Now, I want to thank Jock Peterson of the San Francisco Giants for his performance last night. The Mets were what I would call scrappy. They scored 12 runs usually, and they were down 8-2.
Yeah.
But if you scored 12 runs, chances are you've won the game, but not last night. Jock Peterson hit 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, and won the game, if not single-handedly, without a lot of help. Here's the deal: it's gonna take 13 runs to beat the Mets tonight. Who's in? And Jock Peterson said, "I am," and the rest of the Giants said, "Who's this guy? Do we know him? He seems so ready to go." The rest of us are kind of a little sleepy. We'll if we can, we'll show up in the 3rd inning. Yastrzemski, ready to go? Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Tough night last night.
Tough night.
And yet the Giants did not allow the Mets to enjoy what might have been, even so, their second best comeback of the year. I mean, they had the one, what was it, 3 weeks ago? That was off the charts. I mean,
That was crazy.
If the Mets are anything, they're a scrappy ass ball club.
They hit the ball.
They put the ball in play. They put Pinelli used to say it all the time: if you put the ball in play, things happen.
Damn right they do. Well, the Giants are trying the opposite side of that. How little can we do? What minimal effort can we bring to the ballpark tonight that will allow us just to lose by 1? Because that's so close. We can say we can put the game behind. Well, we're going to put that one behind us.
Yeah.
It's so close. It could have gone either way. But why did they win? Well, they hit the ball, and we decided we were going to try to win without hitting the ball. And we're going to try one more time tomorrow. And if it doesn't work, I swear to God, we're going to start trying to hit the ball. Not hitting it, trying to hit it.
Fine.
Commitment to try to hit it.
Yeah, because if you try to hit it, eventually, theorem goes that you'll hit it.
You can do it. You can do it.
You do it. You do it. Or you do it.
And if you need 13 runs, my suggestion is do it and start in the 1st inning, because you're gonna need a pile of runs over here.
Mike, you got to watch that movie. You got to. I don't know if it's on if you can rent it or something, but you got to watch The Idolmaker, man.
The Idolmaker.
The Idolmaker. You will. I am sure that you will get a kick out of The Idolmaker.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, I want your thoughts on The Idolmaker.
Well, this is a woeful Wednesday. We'll have a Freaky Friday coming up, not very far away, and God knows what this country will turn itself into in a matter of 2 days.
Yeah.
By the way, I just wanted to say Herschel Walker is a bald-faced liar. Fat, ugly, bald-faced liar. I hate you, Herschel Walker, for what you've become, and you're an embarrassment to sport. You're an embarrassment to all the things that you achieved in college and professional football. You're an embarrassment to politics, and you're a liar. You are a liar, sir.
And if it wasn't for Tommy Tuberville, you'd be the #1 liar. But fortunately, we have a former coach that's a bigger liar.
And dumb as a mud fence. Tommy Tuberville, you're dumb as you are the ignorant cracker that everyone laughs at.
Mikey, I just hope that people, today's one of those days where I will just ask you, anybody who's listening, to call your friends and check on them. Call people, and sometimes people don't say. We're lucky. We have this hour every couple of days. We talk to each other. People listening, people aren't listening. It's our therapy session. I mean, think of the thousands we've saved.
And think of the hundreds we've condemned to a terrible feat.
Yeah, but the reality is hopefully you get some enjoyment out of this. You get some feeling of community, and that's because that's what we're all about, is just, trying to have this community's people that remember how it used to be, and how it used to be is people would check on each other. So if you know somebody that works in a school today, if you know somebody that works with kids today, pick up the phone and give them a call. And just ask them how they're doing. It doesn't have to be a long, deep, involved conversation. Just let somebody know that you appreciate that they watch your kids. They are dedicated to keeping kids safe.
And keep in mind also, Vinny, how much trouble an 18-year-old can be in. Hey, he's 18, he's a man. He's got to make up his own decisions. No. Not in this world. No, he's 18, he's a child.
No, kids turn 18 when they're 12 these days.
And imagine the confusion. Yesterday I was 11, I turned 12, and I'm 18.
Yeah. So by the time they get to 18, they're like 30.
30 with, a grizzled stubble, a pack of Camels in their pocket, roll up into their t-shirt.
Yeah. It's a shame because kids don't get to grow up anymore like we did. They're inundated with computers and phones and movies and everything, video games, and they see violence as a normal part of life.
Violence is entertainment.
Yeah, it's not something that you recoil from. You actually pay money to go see it.
You pay extra because you got to have the new game.
Used to go see the Bearded Lady. Now you plunk down $55.95 for Grand Theft Auto 3 or whatever it is.
How come the Bearded Lady never took an AK-47 into a high school?
If anybody had a right to start shooting people, it probably was how much fun was she made fun of? How much was she made fun of?
Never thought of that, did we?
No, it was a freak show. You had all sorts of midgets and all sorts of people who had deformities. And what did we do? We put them in a circus.
Put them in a bar in Texas where you can throw the midgets. A midget toss. How far can you throw them?
Welcome to Texas. Throw a midget, throw up, and throw home.
It's the first thing we've done today was the show, and now I'm exhausted. Whew.
It's a terrible place, and it appears like murder, whether it be 19 school children,
murder most foul.
One president of the United States, still is in style in Texas.
Oh, it's very much in style. It's encouraged. It's part of the rights of growth and adulthood.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk more about what we can do about it, because I do believe that we as a society need to stand up and do some things.
The only one weapon we have, and it's our weapon, the people's weapon, is the vote. There is no other. There is no other.
You put it, and you know what? It's to the point where if you want to live like that, go find yourself a country and live like that.
And it should be used as a weapon. It's your weapon of defense, the vote.
Go move to South America, go somewhere else where you can have your guns and you really do need your gun.
To shoot the anaconda, but not to shoot one another.
Yeah. Move to Florida.
Oy.
You take Florida. I'll tell you what, I've said this before. You take Florida and Texas. You can take every state in the middle of those two as well.
And you can keep them.
You can keep them. Give me Puerto Rico and Cuba. Fair trade. But we put a wall up. You want your wall?
This time it's a real wall.
This time it's up a few longitudinal degrees. And we put a wall up so you can't come into our gunless country. You can't come into our country.
Make it electronics, like a fly.
Yeah, we don't tolerate violence. We don't tolerate meanness. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe the clock is ticking on United in the United States. I hate to say that because I love this country.
But part of it doesn't love you back.
But yeah, there's a big part of this country that doesn't like my ideas at all.
Well,
All right,
Vinny,
man. I will.
I'll see you on the Freaky Fractures Friday. We'll get ready for your weekend show.
Yeah, we'll be ready for the weekend show. We'll probably be in better moods. I'm just in a really crappy mood.
I know, of course you are.
You know, I mean, I think you are too. I think the whole country is in a crappy mood this morning. So just remember, we'll catch you here on Friday, if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise.
You know what? The Lord doesn't seem to have much to do with anything anymore these days. If you notice that,
Yeah, I have noticed that.
where the hell is the Lord? He's fulfilling all the prayers, hopes and prayers, and thoughts and prayers.
Yeah,
his hands full.
yeah. I think that the Lord is washing his hands of us, Mikey.
In the blood of children.
You know what? Look at those people in Israel. Look at those people in Ukraine. They need my help. Look at those people in Russia. They need some help. Maybe I got to concentrate over there for a while because I tried to help the people in the United States.
Because they're the best.
And I said, all you have to do is put me on the money. Just putting God we trust on the money, and I'll give you anything you want. And I did. And you know what? They abused the crap out of it. I gave them oil to heat their houses, and so they could get from one place to another. And what did they do? I gave them computers so they could be the smartest people in the world. And what did they do? They play Wordle.
I don't know how to play Wordle.
I have no idea how to do it.
It has to do with words, right? Because there's nothing Wordle. Is there?
I think the name implies that, doesn't it?
There's no such thing as a Wordle which is like a bug that rolls up to protect itself or something like that. No.
Well, and plus, every time I see it, I think of Kenny Waddell.
Well, let's ask Kenny Wardell how to play Wordle. Maybe he's got some insight into that.
Every time I see Wordle, I think, oh, it's Kenny Waddell. No, it's Wordle. Kenny, a long-time guy from the Bay Area, promo guy.
All right, Vinny.
All right, Mikey.
I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to stop doing it.
All right. Peace, love, and a big bottle of Manischewitz, man.
What a world. What a wine. What a deal. See you then.
All right, Mikey. Peace.